It's 10 p.m. in Banjul and from our studios on MDI Road. This is the news. But first, the headlines. We will retain our dominance in the party's heartlands. APRC supporters in Banjul and Deng reaffirmed their support to the ruling party during a massive political rally in the Kombonot settlement. Health Promotion and Education Unit of the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare trained participants in ways of preventing minor ailments affecting society. Presidents of Iran and the United States hailed the historic nuclear deal and the subsequent lifting of crippling sanctions on Tehran, but hawks in Washington have slammed the development amid fear of a resurgent Iran. And Burkina Faso observes 3 days of national mourning following the tragic loss of lives in the wake of the terror attacks on Ouagadougou. Well, viewers, these and other stories coming ahead this half hour. I am your presenter, TENENG.
100 people hid in their rooms with
Welcome back. APRC party bigwigs and supporters Saturday gathered in Banjulinding in the Kombonot district for a massive rally. Supporters of the ruling party spoke of their readiness to ensure the party continued to uphold its dominance in the Kombonot. Pamar Kanyi has more on that.
The tremendous achievements of the APRC government have been the call card of the party bigwigs at another of the party's rallies in Banjulunding. Speakers always have the chance to make assessments of how far the Gambia has been transformed under President Jammeh. The Kombonot constituency have been an APRC stronghold. A demonstration of that is the organization of this mass political rally by the people of Banjulunding. Its timeliness cannot be overemphasized, for it comes at a time ahead of a busy cycle of electioneering. The party, according to supporters, is known to be a segregation-free party, which respects all, even its critics. Sekuna Sane, an active member of the APRC, calls for the continued unity among members and to make their mission for the common good clear to all Gambians. She is the first female governor of the party and one of the examples showing President Jammeh's stance on gender equity. Her message here was simple: more of civic education, as she urged potential voters to arm themselves with voters' cards, which she said will enable them to partake in the elections. She, however, reflected on the performance of President Jammeh in improving all facets of Gambian lives, from education to quality healthcare delivery, gender mainstreaming, agriculture, infrastructure to the various national development blueprints. For party militants, Kombonot is not a breeding ground for opposition parties. A number of them insisted the trend will continue into the coming years.
West Coast is prepared to support the president to the latter. The president is from West Coast region. Oh no, Kombonot is the powerhouse and is the brain of APRC. So opposition, they know it. We never hear that the opposition, they provide a candidate for their party in Kombonot here. So for that matter, don't fear. We will assure everybody that the Kombonot is no breeding hole for any opposition candidate.
Party bigwigs say similar rallies will be held in other parts of Kombonot, an area that has for the better part of these past 20 years been a Jammeh political heartland. For GRCS News, I am Famara Kanyi.
As part of his tour of the Gambia, the Minister of Planning, Brahma Sanya, and team of experts also took time to visit various projects in many parts of the country. The tour was meant to assess the state of these projects and also ways of improving conditions. Etienne Silva reports.
It was his first ever nationwide tour as Minister of the newest and first ever Ministry of Planning and Policy. However, the week-long work trip was by no means an easy one. The The tour was a multifaceted one, encompassing planning and policy-related issues. The goal of the exercise was to make all regional and central government institutions that dovetail under the Ministry of Planning to understand its mandate as a ministry created to give a new momentum to planning and policy in the government.
We started first consultative sessions with other development partners like the private sector, like the public enterprises. We scheduled to have similar ones with the NGOs and so on. But we thought that for development, since development beneficiaries, most of them are, live in the provinces, in the regions, it is better that before we settle down, we clearly define how our relationship with them would actually map out. What are the challenges they encounter, so that once we clearly in the process of defining our mandate, we will know how to relate with them, what challenges they have, how they can contribute effectively to the national planning and development process.
The tour has also been used as a yardstick to examine concerns as well as recommendations of the respective development structures that are decentralized across the country, especially those who showed up at the meeting, so that their views will reflect on the upcoming national development document to be prepared by the Planning Ministry.
We can leverage on these structures, make sure that we are able to at least interact with them, support them to make sure that they are able to effectively carry out the work that they're doing, like the development of ward development plans as well as regional development plans, because these are supposed to feed into the national development plan so that collectively the priorities that are being reflected at the decentralized levels are adequately reflected in the national development plan.
The Planning Minister and his team of technicians kick off their journey with meetings at the North Bank's administrative town of Kerewan, Janjangbure in CRR, Passe in URR, and Mansakonko in Lower River region, where it culminated. Apparently, the message circulated was synonymous, likewise the reaction from hosts.
Key among the challenges is awareness creation. They lack capacity. These structures are on the ground, but they are not capacitized to be able to be functional.
The recommendation would just be in line with the approach that they have adopted. That is to make it an all-inclusive one. All the critical players and development has to be on board, and that is what they have rightly done.
At the last year's cabinet retreat in Kanilai, the President, His Excellency Sir Professor Dr. Alhaji Yahya Jammeh Babli Mansa, described accurate data collection and management as an indispensable tool for sustainable socio-economic development, whilst emphasizing the need to have a robust data system in all government institutions. Some 5 months on, the new Planning Minister, in collaboration with the Gambia Bureau of Statistics, seems to be working towards that direction.
Definitely collaborating with major statistical or data producers in the country. We do conduct what we call producer forums, where we communicate with them. We try to understand what the type of data they collect, the challenges that they encounter in collecting this data, and we have really come up with a project to support strengthening the capacity so that the data availability is enhanced in the country.
The tour availed respective grassroots development structures to unearth numerous challenges derailing their progresses, with suggestions to the solutions much to the expectation of the Planning Minister. The expectation is that Honorable Sanyang and delegation would act on these concerns as soon as they return to Banjul. Echan Silva, GRTS News.
Health Promotion and Education Unit under the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare has rolled out a day-long forum for participants to discuss issues related to ways of reducing the spread of diseases through basic hygienic methods. Asidu Jata was there and she tells us more.
This forum, organized by the Health Promotion Directorate of the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, is anchored on the need to raise awareness of some preventable disease. The idea is to train participants to enable them understand causes, transmission routes, prevention, management and control of Ebola and other related disease.
They have been working with us for a long, and then we've seen that this is a core group we have left behind with the Ebola intervention, and we feel that we need to get them together to orientate them on how to promote what we call the cost-effective and sustainable hand-washing device, which is called the TPTAP. This is an idea drawn from Kenya, and also with support from Concern Universal, we are able to construct this in the communities of URR and CRR, and we really want to expand our intervention to West Coast region, focusing on the border areas, because we know that these are the areas where people come in and out, and we really want to promote hand washing with soap and running water, which when they are trained, it's a device that you don't need to spend anything on it. They will just use it and then wash their hands without touching any of the materials. And that's the beauty of this. You will see how it has been demonstrated here, and this is what we have been promoting across the country.
These frontline health workers are expected to use their newfound skills in promoting quality healthcare practices in communities.
We want to avoid communal hand washing. And when I mean by communal hand washing is, we know traditionally you go to a household, people when they are about to eat, everybody will just have one basin and they wash their hand. Even the first person that washes the hand in that particular basin, it is not clean, because the person is washing the hands in one dirty water in and out. And then that person's hand is not clean, much more the second, the third, and the fourth, and the fifth person. That's what we are discouraging. We also want to discourage the fact that some people also have the idea that if somebody wants to help you to wash your hand by pouring water on you, traditionally thinking that the thinking is that these two people will not be the same, they will be quarreling only. That's the concept. And we are trying to do away with this concept by bringing this particular device, which no one will touch it by your hand, and no one also will touch it by any other means, but just to pedal it and the water will come and you wash your hand. That's the beauty of this device.
For his part, the Regional Director of Health Services, Western 2, said providing training for hygiene promoters on critical capacities of disease prevention and control will contribute towards the spread of the message to the masses.
Person-to-person transmission by means of direct contact with infected persons or their bodily fluids and secretions is considered the principal mode of transmission. In a household study, of course, secondary transmission took place only if direct physical contact occurred. The risk of infection during transport of persons can be further reduced through use of infection control precautions. In the current outbreak, infected travelers have crossed land borders with neighboring countries, and there is a possibility that other cases might occur in neighboring countries.
Inspector Ibrahim Ajata of Das Lame border post described the training as fruitful and timely, since the training will help them execute their duties at the border posts. He also assured of their readiness to disseminate the knowledge gained from the training. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Aissatou Jata.
Over 400 students have completed certificate courses at the Alliance Française de Banjul. The group completed French language lessons rolled out by the Learning and Cultural Center. Janky Toure has more on that story.
De mon pays, jeunes d'Afrique, jeunes du monde, écoutez ma voix innocente, porteuse d'espoir. Espoir de voir nos droits respectés, espoir de voir nos conditions améliorées. Papa, maman, ne me laissez pas seul dans cet univers dominé par la folie des adultes. Soyez mes guides vers un avenir meilleur. Offrez-moi la possibilité de résister, le pouvoir de servir. Servir ma nation, servir ma chère Afrique, servir le monde tout entier. L'Afrique a parlé.
Over 400 students who have passed their French language examination in 2014 and 2015 have received their certificate at a ceremony held at the Alliance Franco. The Learning and French Cultural Center has been providing French language lessons and promotion of cross-cultural exchange for decades now.
I also commend the board, the director, and the teaching staff and administrative staff for their efforts in propagating the French language here in Gambia. I say to you students or children here present, please take your French courses seriously, because French is not only a that will be useful to you in your professional as well as private life.
Established in 1956, Alliance Française de Banjul is a Gambian association, part of the international network of over 900 Alliance Françaises that annually welcome over 450,000 students to their language classes and over 6 million people to cultural events worldwide. Affiliated to the Alliance Française Foundation in Paris, it is also part of the French cultural network in the Senegambia region, made of Alliance Française of Kaolack, Banjul, and the French Institute of St. Louis and Dakar.
The Alliance Française have existed in the Gambia for a very long time. And then in the course of its existence, it has expanded its function. Its primary function at the earliest stage, as you know now, is this. That is teaching French and awarding certificates. So this is why we are happy to see that we do not only conduct the DELF at the Alliance Française, but we have extended our collaborations with institutions in the Gambia. And then you can see the institutions, SMEC International is one of our main partners, and then Jana Mariam is another partner. We've also had a partnership with Marina International School.
Today we celebrate the success of our students, school pupils, and partners of Alliance. You know, the DELF and the DALF are certificates awarded by the French Ministry of Education to prove the French language skills of non-French candidates, exactly awarded by CIEP. CIEP means International Center of Pedagogical Studies.
It is another big step in the lives of this group of people who have already completed an important element of their development, which will in no small measures arm them with the necessary tool to communicate in French, one of the more dominant languages in the world. For GRTS News, I am Janke Toure.
From the report by Janke Toure, we'll take our first break. We'll be right back with news from outside the Gambia. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. Iran has welcomed the lifting of crippling sanctions on the country. This after the United Nations nuclear watchdog confirmed that the Islamic Republic has curtailed its nuclear program, fulfilling its part in the last year's nuclear agreement. The EU's top diplomat states the deal shows how diplomacy could resolve even the most difficult issues. One result of that, freed prisoners from both Iran and the US are on their way home. We have more in this report.
An unusual sight, planes from the US and Iran side by side. The planes are parked in Geneva, thought to be waiting for an exchange of prisoners agreed between the two countries. For Iran's President Rouhani, the nuclear deal is a campaign promise come good, one of his biggest political successes. It means an end to years of economic isolation. The nuclear deal is not a case of one party beating another party. The winner is the Iranian nation. Nobody was beaten in making the deal, neither inside the country nor among the countries that negotiated with us. Everyone is happy with the agreement, except the Zionists, the warmongers, those who provoke division within the Muslim nation, and radicals in the US. In the States, Republicans like presidential candidate Ted Cruz are firmly opposed to the agreement. They fear that Iran will still be able to build a nuclear bomb.
The single greatest national security threat facing Iran, facing this country, is the threat of a nuclear Iran.
Iran's neighbors are also concerned, in particular Saudi Arabia. The Sunni Muslim nation is Iran's primary regional adversary. Israel, too, is worried that a boost to Iran's economy will mean the country spending more on its military. It is clear that from now on, Iran will have more means which it can divert to terror actions, and Israel is prepared to deal with any threat. For ordinary Iranians, though, the deal may prove a major breakthrough. the country can start exporting oil again. Iranian firms can increase their business internationally. Brand new German cars are set to hit the streets of Tehran. The lifting of sanctions will likely also mean growing profits for exporters from many countries. An unusual sight.
The West African nation of Burkina Faso is the latest country to be hit by terrorism. Islamic militants linked to Al-Qaeda attacked 2 hotels and a cafe in Ouagadougou. The assaults left at least 28 people dead. Security forces regained control of the situation on Saturday, killing 4 of the attackers and freeing more than 150 hostages. More in this report.
Some information about the Ouagadougou attackers is slowly coming to light. They're said to have come into Burkina Faso by road in a car registered in Niger. Lucien Trabi was drinking a beer in the Cappuccino Cafe where they hit first. He hid, but then, amidst the chaos, ended up looking one of the gunmen straight in the face. Yes, I am in shock. When I close my eyes, I see the face of that damned terrorist. The worst thing is, he was so young, still a child. The Hotel Splendide. The terror rampage went on for hours here. More than 100 people hid in their rooms with no idea what was happening. All the guests had locked themselves inside their rooms in order to hide. Nobody wanted to open their doors. We just didn't know who to trust. Even when they came to free us, they had to force open the doors. We were really, really scared. Newly elected President Roch-Marc Christian Caboret has ordered 3 days of mourning for the dead, while investigators continue to try to find out how this could happen.
Well, now with that, we'll take our second break, and when we return, we'll take a look at sports. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Gambia international footballer Abdoulaye Ken Mansali and his Mansali Foundation recently donated basic food items to communities in the Kombo East District. 2 nursery schools in the Kanafi municipality also benefited from the Mansali Foundation's latest intervention in the form of cash. Babka Senghor has more.
Gambia international footballer Kenny Mansali and his charity have continued their outreach programs, which include reaching out to communities with the latest intervention taking members to the Kombo East District and several other places. The recent distribution of food items is aimed at improving livelihoods and also encourage children's participation in football as a way of building positive lives for these young people.
It's quite a magnanimous gesture. We've just given out 50 bags of rice here in Tumani Tenda. On our way back to Sirakunda, we will be passing by some other settlements that we consider to be poor settlements, and then give out the other 50 bags on our way to Sirakunda. Also, when we get to Talinding, we'll be also giving out 20 bags of rice there, and later on we'll be giving $40,000 to somebody, a young girl we're helping in her treatment. We actually paid earlier on for her operation in Dakar and have been helping her since then. Later today we'll be giving her and her family $40,000. Earlier on this morning we also donated $43,000 to Buba and our nursery school somewhere in Joshua. We feel so proud, we feel so good as Gambians giving back to Gambian communities. Like I said earlier on, there is nothing more pleasing really than helping your own people. So it's a big thing, but then we hope to do even much more better and much more greater things.
Our goal, one mango, one child at a time slogan was put into action with first time stop at the late Buba and our Jaju Nursery School in Joshua, where the foundation doled out a cash amount of $43,000 for the refurbishment of the school.
So I'm very much impressed about it, because this is not the first time he has been doing such a thing. We really appreciate it, and I pray that Allah continue to shower His blessing on him. He's really a patriot.
Such interventions are not uncommon for the foundation since its inception. The foundation also donated 100 bags of rice to 50 households in Tumani Tenda.
Today is a great pleasure for me to see a player or a sport player in this country doing a good gesture for his fellow Gambians. I am proud of this gesture. On behalf of the youths, on behalf of the Alcalo, the elders of the community, we would like to tell you that we are very happy.
The move to provide basic essentials to families is based on the foundation's commitment to improving lives and help those in need. This was amply demonstrated in the paying of the medical bills of Mala Mani.
Today I thank God, and it's going successfully, and as with foundation we do the launching. This is the day I was looking forward, we do the foundation and the charity, but everything was like working for this big day for me, where it's by you giving back and see how people excited to receive things like this, like receiving cash money for their, for their needing things. And as you can see, we started in the morning, and we went to the school, donated, where they didn't expect it, and whereby the school donated in the U.S. So everything they donated went to us in the school. I went to,
The significance is it's incredible because not only is it helping people out, but it's teaching people to do more and to give back, even if they don't have it, to pay it forward, to give it back. And that way everybody can live hand in hand happily and be friends and neighbors, and it makes a big impact.
With this intervention, the US-based footballer is hopeful of impacting positively on the lives of young people who are aiming to follow in his footsteps. For GRTS Sport, this is Babukat Senghor.
Clearly a laudable philanthropist work there. Well, now viewers, with that we come to the end of this newscast, but before we take leave of you, a quick reminder of our day's main stories. We will retain our dominance in the party's heartlands. APRC supporters in Banjul have reaffirmed their support to the ruling party during a massive political rally in the Combonot settlement. Health Promotion and Education Unit of the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare has trained participants in ways of preventing minor ailments affecting society. Presidents of Iran and the United States have hailed the historic nuclear deal and the subsequent lifting of crippling sanctions on Tehran, but hacks in Washington have slammed the development amid fear of a resurgent Iran. And Burkina Faso is observing 3 days of national mourning following the tragic loss of lives in the wake of the terror attacks on Ouagadougou. Well, now, viewers, that was all in this edition of the news. Thanks for the pleasure of your company. Do stay with us, and I'm your presenter, TENENG.
I see the